government turned into a battleground over the 2025 budget. Shocking reveals, heated showdowns, highlights, and some political commentary you cannot miss. There's the debate that's got everyone talking. Let's watch some major highlights.
I said the National Security Coordinator was served. He was served. Service, as you rightly said, is done by bailiffs. But unless you are telling me I should go and get the fine details, who wrote the warrant, who signed it, who was it handed over to, so that I can take all that line from the courtroom all the way to the National Security Coordinator's office. But you know definitely the National Security Coordinator is not going to walk into the courtroom with an NIB official to say that, oh, once we've issued a warrant, can we have it to go and effect arrest? No. Somebody served it in line with the law. So, Mr. Speaker, so far as we are concerned, the law was adhered to, a crime was committed, and a crime was committed, and the National Security Coordinator was served for the warrant to be effected. And that was what happened. And unfortunately, they didn't get him. Because if they had gotten him, he would have definitely been arrested. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Minister, thank you for your answer.
Last one. Mr. Speaker, the minister, this is a house of records. This is a house of records. The minister says, unfortunately, they didn't get him. If they had gotten him, they would have arrested him. Mr. Speaker, the minister should know this, that at the time the officers were in Koforidua, in Akwetia, to arrest the MP, the Supreme Court had issued an order by a 4-1 decision freezing the enforcement of those orders. That is one. Two, Mr. Speaker, at the time that those NIB officers were on rampage, they actually made an attempt and pulled a weapon, and the town folks, through the noise they made on the injustice, they had to run away. Mr. Speaker, the minister should not endorse illegality and unconstitutionality. But I want to ask him whether it is part of the NIB's duties.
Honorable Minority Leader, I will recognize the Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, the Minority Leader, and I said it this morning, I continue to get worried about the manner in which the Minority Leader uses the facilities of this House. The opportunity to ask ministers questions is closely governed by Order 86. The type of questions you can ask. You cannot make or imply a charge of a personal character or which reflects upon character.
Honorable Speaker, given the reality of the funding gap of $156 million, the government would take the following measures to close the funding gap. Mr. Speaker, as part of the resources that will be made available as a result of the uncapping of the National Health Insurance levy, part of it will be used to close the gap created following the suspension of the USAID funding. Additionally, an amount of 100 million Ghana cedis is being allocated in the goods and services budget of the Ministry of Health under the expenditure line Global Fund. This will be used to procure vaccines that hitherto were being funded by the USAID. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Your economic policy, it is not coherent with your manifesto. I have a copy of your manifesto here, Resetting Ghana, NDC Manifesto 2024. I have your economic policy here. Your economic policy is not coherent with your manifesto. I always say that agro beswa, efranopa, to wit, if the evening festivities will be exciting, the morning preparation will show. This morning preparation you've brought us shows us that the evening festivities will be nothing to write home about. You told us between pages 3 and 22 of your manifesto that your economic program, Honorable Deputy Minister, let me have your attention. You told us that your economic program will be built on 3 foundational pillars: the economic transformation agenda, the economic recovery program, and the 24-hour economy. Right at the dispatch box, your boss, the finance minister, has admitted that the 24-hour economy part of it, they are not ready to even lay it before this house. Sunday, you brought in Mr. Guzitando to do an informal presentation, and he himself admitted that he has some further work to do, and then he will bring it here. You have brought us an economic policy. The economic recovery program, that's the foundation. The economic transformation agenda, that's the foundation. The 24-hour economy, that's the foundation. You have not finished preparing it. Who built the first floor when they haven't built the foundation? Which contractor built the first floor when they haven't built the foundation? And let me show you the effect. That is why when we go into your economic policy, there's no coherence with your manifesto. You made 273 economic promises in your manifesto, 273 of them. If we prorate your 4-year period, each year you should be doing about 68 of them. Do you know how many of your economic promises you have responded to in this first economic policy? Do you know the number? I'm not sure you have read the budget. You haven't counted. You have only responded to 25 of your economic promises. Mr. Deputy Minister, that is just about 36%. If you continue at this rate, by the time this year is over and by the time your tenure is over, you will be doing less than 20%. And let me tell you why. Because even when you roll out programs as government, not all of it succeeds. I've told you that we've been in government before. The MPP in the first year rolled out free SHS, 1D, 1F, 1 village, 1 dam. Even those ones that we started early, look at the challenges that we faced. And so, Honorable Deputy Minister, we are drawing your attention, this is free feedback to you, that you need to find more coherence between your economic policy and your own manifesto. Else, by the time your tenure is done, you would have disappointed yourself.
Sometimes I want to ask you, nobody wants to tell me, that are you truly social democrats or capitalistic in nature? Because you can't do proper policies. You can't manage the economic indicators. So what are you? I want to know. Just as I think Peter asked Jesus, who are you? Are you socialistic? You're always bundling around propaganda. Only lies and deception. Mr. Speaker, name all the pro-poor policies in our country. Name all the pro-poor policies, both in kind and cash. Any pro-poor policy of national tenacity and international reputation, you cannot dip your hand in it. Even in this very August house, when we're passing national health insurance, you run away. Only for you to come back and say you started it. When it was Roman Catholics that had started that as a pilot project in Kwanzaa and Techiman. Every day it's about propaganda. We are doing free SHS. You kicked against it. You spoke against it. You insulted us. When you realize that Ghanaians were buying to, so we want to do it incrementally. Mr. Speaker, they only added 25 million that year to the education budget. The fact is, NDC has to be dissolved. You have to be dissolved. It's not about numbers. You have to be dissolved. Because we are talking about quality numbers. See, our numbers are small, but quality, minority. Mr. Speaker, for this, I respect them, I won't say it. But I'll tell them out today.
Another worrying statement that the former finance minister made is that why have we put all these figures out there and international communities and so what? Did you expect us to lie about, oh, I'm using lie again. Did you expect us to misrepresent data because, well, I mean, international community is listening? No. We had the responsibility to let Ghanaians know the true state of the economy so that we can carry everybody along in the attempt to reset the economy.
Mr. Speaker, to say that the minister is manipulating figures and feeding the manipulated figures to the IMF, Mr. Speaker, that is a very serious charge. It's a very, very serious charge. And I don't think he should be making such statements in a debate. To say that the minister is manipulating figures in order to derive a certain outcome is to impute improper motives and conduct
Honorable
to the minister.
Members,
so please,
objection is sustained.
Can you
need
withdraw
to
that
be
and continue?
guided by the rules. Accordingly,
Withdraw that and
I
continue.
direct that the statement imputing that the minister has manipulated figures should be expunged from the record.
As far as I'm concerned, the former Minister of Finance made that statement in context. And what has happened within the last 5 minutes is basically to distort the flow in his comment. Mr. Speaker, you see, it should never be said of the majority leader. Majority leader, it should never be said that you are now, distorting the debates. It shouldn't be said that this is being done by the majority leader, because since morning, from trying to arrest a question, raising constitutional issues and standing orders and all that, now to Honorable Amin Adam, a very innocent soul. If point of order against some other persons, including myself, we will take it. But Honorable Amin Adams, a very innocent soul, he too is receiving, let me carry all the sins, but not to an innocent soul.